Like most other Smash fans out there, I was very delayed to see Nintendo release the 3.0 update, including Joker, Stage Builder, and a bunch of other stuff very recently. This was an update that was very anticipated. I did make a video speculating about what was going to be inside of it, and it turned out to be Stage Builder, a video editing mode, and some other stuff, but this Stage Builder is much expanded upon than I think everybody expected. I thought that some of the hype around Stage Builder would have been taken away, considering that there was a leak in the Nintendo commercial that I talked about in last week's video. However, it didn't seem to be that way. Nintendo added so many features into the Stage Builder that I really enjoy, such as the multi-layer aspect where you could have people fight on one layer and then just have all of this stuff going on in the background with the moving objects that you can now use and create the Smash stage of your dreams. You can share these stages with other people, use the Switch Online app, and it actually has more functionality now for once, and now you could just use that to go and find some interesting stages online. There's a video editing mode included in this 3.0 update, which is really cool. You could share some of your highlight clips for Smash Ultimate with other people, but obviously the big thing is the release of Joker. Joker was revealed at the Game Awards, however this was just an animated trailer and he wasn't actually shown in gameplay footage at that time. It was said for Joker to be released by the end of April 2019, and now that he's been released, we can confirm that Nintendo did stay on track with this release schedule. And I know some people are disappointed after seeing the gameplay of him because it looks like Nintendo's following the Smash 4 route now of making characters overpowered when they come in as DLC. And while I think it's a little bit too early to definitively determine whether or not Joker is going to be an incredibly high tier character in Smash Ultimate, he definitely has a lot of moves that he's able to use in his arsenal, and a lot of powerful ones. He's able to deal a lot of damage very quickly, and those types of characters generally succeed in Smash Bros. Games, at least historically. And I'm sure that Joker in Smash Ultimate will be no different in this case. But if you're like me and you're not the most hardcore competitive player in Super Smash Bros., this type of information may not be of the utmost concern to you, and you're probably just more concerned about how fun the character is to play. Joker is definitely a fun character to play, and has many aspects of his moveset that are very unique, differentiating him from the other characters within the cast. He does have some similarities to other characters like Sheik and Cloud, for example, but he is unique enough to stand out as his own character, and using Arsene from the Persona games is really cool, and I like that they brought that one in. But while all the stuff that we got in the 3.0 update was well and good, many fans are wondering about one particular question. Why did Nintendo reveal it in the form that they did? What I mean by that is, why didn't they just do a Smash Bros. Direct revealing all of this information, and instead it just dropped a video about all the information within the update that would be releasing the next day? Today I'll be going over some of the possible real reasons for why Nintendo would decide to do this. I have three main ones that I'm going to be going over today, and I'm going to be trying to get to the core of why Nintendo would decide to do a move like this, and if there's any significance behind it. And with that being said, remember to subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's get started. The first reason that I want to go over today is Nintendo might have been concerned about disappointing the fans if they hyped this up as a Smash Bros. Direct. We've all seen the memes about the Nintendo Direct cycle where Nintendo will announce a Direct and then people will get hyped about it and then they'll get disappointed because they had expectations that were way too high, but then they'll eventually get hyped for one again. This has been an issue with Nintendo fans concerning Directs for a long time, people expecting way too much out of them, and then when they don't deliver all this stuff that you conceptualize in your mind and you think that they're going to do, you get disappointed because they didn't talk about it. And if Nintendo were to have hyped this up as a Smash Bros. Direct, there would have likely been expectations for a new fighter to have been revealed inside of it. As the video on its own, I thought it was great. It delivered all the information that I was wanting to know. It delivered when Joker was being revealed, all the aspects about his moveset, and all the contents within the 3.0 update, and when I would be able to access it. Did I really want any more out of that Smash Bros. Presentation? No, not really. It delivered, but I think Nintendo internally thought that if they had promoted that more before they dropped it, just like a normal Nintendo Direct, then people would have wanted a new character reveal at the end of it like we do for many Smash Bros. Presentations and general Nintendo Directs even. And it's clear that they weren't ready to deliver that. So if the thought was that just dropping this out of the blue would have garnered less expectation, because there can obviously be no expectation if you don't hype anything up, then they have succeeded in this idea, because I don't see many people getting upset about the presentation at all. The next reason that I want to go over is Nintendo potentially wanting to compete with Microsoft and Sony on the same day for attention. Nintendo could go around saying all they want about how Microsoft and Sony aren't their competition and that they do their own thing, and while to an extent this can be considered true because they don't go out of their way to release their consoles at the same time period as Sony and Microsoft do, this is also false in many ways. Nintendo is a video game company. They're competing against two other video game companies for people who are going to buy a console to play some games on. Most people only buy one console for their home, and if they decide to go the route of PlayStation, then Nintendo likely loses that consumer for the most part. So with Microsoft planning to hold their Inside Xbox presentation for April 16th, and then Sony eventually revealing some new details about the PlayStation 5 on April 16th, Nintendo might have thought that they would have had to get some of the attention on that day, because much of the attention involving the video game industry is being directed to both Microsoft and Sony. I don't know how true this idea could be, considering that it would have had to been a very sporadic decision, and considering how big of a company we're talking about here, it may not have been a decision that was made that quickly, or could have been made that quickly. Lots of people would have had to been consulted and stuff like that for them to really act on a whim concerning this Smash presentation. However, I don't think it could be entirely out of the realm of possibility. Another idea related to this point is that they wanted to rush out the Smash Bros. Presentation due to the leak last week of there being stage builder in the game. As many of you are aware of, and I touched on in my video last week, Nintendo released a commercial concerning Smash Ultimate, and it was the most updated version of the game within the commercial, and there was a stage builder icon inside of the commercial that many fans instantly caught. Because of this, many people already knew about one of the biggest features that Nintendo was planning on announcing within this presentation before the presentation actually happened, so maybe Nintendo wanted to rush it out a little bit more as to not provide more people with an opportunity to look at a leak for a feature that they really wanted to surprise fans with. So for both of those reasons that I just went over, them competing with the other consoles and them trying to combat the leaks, there couldn't have been much of a build-up period for a direct format if they wanted to get it out very quickly for those reasons. The final reason that I wanted to go over today is Nintendo is preparing for other presentations, and that's why they didn't want to hype this one up. I have two contrasting ideas within this one point, as both go in a different direction. I'm going to start with the direction that many of you would probably be more excited about, and this direction is that they're planning another form of Direct relatively soon. Think about it, if a Smash Direct was happening this month, many fans probably wouldn't get as excited for a new mainline Nintendo Direct or a new Nintendo Direct involving one specific game as much, just considering how many people are interested in Smash Bros. A Direct gets a lot of people more excited when there's a lot of time without one, and if you have two within the same month, such as this one for example, there would not be near as much hype for the second one as the first. So it is possible that they're still planning another form of Direct, this one that they could actually hype up, and because they just suddenly dropped a video about Joker in the 3.0 update like that, they could easily hype up a new Nintendo Direct much more, and still probably get a lot of people excited about it, as there would be if there was no Smash presentation. Now, would this Nintendo Direct be a mainline Nintendo Direct? Maybe not, considering that I thought they would talk about Smash Brothers in there if there was going to be a mainline Direct. However, we could definitely get something like Animal Crossing talked about, for example. And if they hyped up a big Direct for Animal Crossing Switch within this month, Nintendo could have definitely gotten a lot of information out about that game that people wanted to know about. However, the contrasting side of this point is that instead of preparing for a Direct presentation, they're preparing for E3. This next idea I'm going over is that Nintendo wants to make the E3 presentation that they're going to deliver much more special by not giving fans a mainline presentation that they've been wanting, and instead giving them all this build-up and anticipation for the E3 presentation when they'll finally talk about those many different games that people want to know about. This does make sense because in my video that I made last week talking about is a Nintendo Direct this month very necessary, many people did respond to that video saying it's probably not very necessary and they could easily wait for E3, go from February to June without a mainline presentation. And this would be technically what's happening if there is no Nintendo Direct this month. As I mentioned at the top of this video, the Joker presentation could have easily been a mainline Nintendo Direct if they branded it as such, but it wasn't, considering that they just dropped the video. So by preparing for another presentation, they're either preparing for a new Nintendo Direct within this month, I don't think it could be in May because that's too close to E3, or they're just preparing for E3, giving this as a little thing to tie us over, but not giving the fans the opportunity to get hyped and excited about this big presentation that that fans have been asking for. E3 over the past couple of years for Nintendo has mainly been focused on one game, and I don't really think they could do that this year. What is going to be this main game that they're going to focus on at E3? Animal Crossing? Yes, some Animal Crossing games have sold incredibly well, but I don't think it could carry most of the presentation like Smash Bros. Did last year, like Odyssey did the year before that, to a lesser extent though, and definitely how Breath of the Wild did the year before that. We could get a balanced E3 presentation this year, revealing a ton of stuff that fans want to know about if they don't do a new Nintendo Direct before E3. And Nintendo not making this a Smash Bros. Direct per se gives us a lot of possibilities for what could happen next. But as I said in the top of this video, I encourage you in the comment section down below to give me some of the reasons that you believe for why Joker was not shown in a Smash Bros. Direct, and instead Nintendo decided to randomly drop this video. Remember to subscribe if you're new to the channel, and check out some of the previous videos that I've made concerning Smash Bros. And some other Nintendo content on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.